Did China really make a recent discovery of uncharted lands? And are these uncharted lands inhabited with new species of dinosaur? As always, folks, my content is for entertainment purposes only and may or may not be true. I provide the information and let you decide. According to TikToker @RavenGuru2, you see pictured here, not only have they found uncharted lands, but they've discovered new species of dinosaur as well. And yes, you heard me correctly, that's species, not just one, but two species of dinosaur were allegedly discovered by a team of 15 scientists on an expedition on this uncharted land. You might be wondering how she obtained this information. Well, sit back, grab your popcorn, and relax, because it's about to get crazy. According to Raven, about a week ago, she was at the local nail salon getting her fake nails removed as she was starting a new job. This was because the job was at a factory and required manual labor. So after arriving at the nail salon, they quickly sat her down and the nail tech began her work. About a half hour later, they were wrapping things up, when suddenly, something strange happened. Out of nowhere, all the nail techs just stopped their work and they turned towards their television that was on the Chinese news network. Normally, she wouldn't think much of it, but she could tell by the way they were fixated on the television that it must be something good. She also knew, as well as you and I do, that Chinese people are very hard workers. So for them to stop working and all of them fixate to the TV, that must mean something big is going on. And of course, the broadcast was in Chinese, so she decided to bust out her Google Translate and record the TV set. And as she followed along on Google Translate, she couldn't believe what she was reading. In fact, she was in such disbelief that she even asked her nail tech to confirm that it was the actual broadcast that they were watching. And she did just that. After reading the Google translation, she told Raven, "Yup, that's exactly what was said." According to the translation, the broadcast stated that China had just discovered uncharted territory, lands that had never been set foot on. And on these uncharted lands, prehistoric life was still thriving. Tens of thousands of dinosaurs inhabited the lands, with the 15 scientists immediately noticing at least two new species. So as you can imagine with such a discovery, the team was ecstatic. But that was very short-lived, because after a couple days, some of the team members started disappearing. One by one, as they were running their routine checks they had done 1,000 times, they kept disappearing, seemingly without a trace. No sound, no screams, nobody even seen them walk off. They would just be gone. Of course, at first, the rest of the team had just figured that maybe they got lost or something, but soon they found out that wasn't the case. Alright y'all, this is where it gets crazy. After about 5 or so members of the team had gone missing, one of the team members had been observing one of the two new species of dinosaur. He had camoed himself well and was lucky enough to capture one in the hunt. At this point, the group really only knew what they had observed physically about the beast. That it was a carnivore and it stood anywhere from 15 to 25 feet tall. It was one of the apex predators on these uncharted lands. That they were fast and ran anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. And they had no real enemies, or competition for that matter, as even the much larger carnivores knew better than to even try to attack them. They avoided them completely. So the researcher sat in silence and watched as it stalked its prey, until finally it went in for the kill. That's when a sense of fear crawled over the researcher's body. He could not believe what he had just witnessed. It was absolutely terrifying. Up to this point, this seasoned veteran had been on numerous expeditions and seen many animals stalk and kill their prey, but nothing like what this creature just did. He watched the creature finish its meal and then sprinted back to base camp. He explained to them what he had witnessed, and they all agreed it was major cause for concern and that they needed to get out of Dodge. But before they left, in a last-ditch effort to maybe find their friends and chart much more vast areas of land, They'd end up deploying something commonly used by researchers in their field, with a camera fixated on the bottom that could reach high altitudes. It enabled them to record for miles. So you're probably asking yourself, what brought them to these uncharted lands? Why was there a research group sent wherever they had gone? Apparently it took them days to get there and then days to return home. Well, according to @RavenGuru's research and her talks with these Chinese nail salonists, it stems back to a discovery made, I want to say at least 2 years ago, maybe more. Many of you probably remember it. The Dragon Man skull, discovered in China. The story goes almost 90 years ago, during World War II, when Japan occupied northern China, they forced a bunch of Chinese men into slave labor in building a bridge. The bridge was going to be built over the Songao River in Harbin. Well, one of these Chinese laborers just so happened to find a treasure when his supervisors weren't looking. It happened to be this complete human skull buried in a riverbank. Well, he knew that if they saw it, the supervisors would definitely take it. So he wrapped it up and he threw it down a well. And there the skull laid for decades, until the old man was on his deathbed and told his grandchildren about his experience. His grandchildren then went and found it and then donated it to science. And of course, it led to much heated debate among experts. Many believed it was Denisovan, while many believed it was Neanderthal. But rumor has it, the results of the DNA came back neither. It came back an undiscovered, new type being. And what does this have to do with the expedition? Well, apparently, they traced each lineage back to their location of where they are alleged to have lived. So they took these two locations and then found another location of where they could have possibly intermingled. And this is how they ended up in those uncharted lands. Again, this is all alleged. I'm not saying this is fact or anything like that. This is just the scenario that I heard. Regardless of its absolute validity, it's still an awesome story nonetheless. The location of where these researchers actually went has not been disclosed, nor has this really been shared much on the media, except in China. If it is true, it's amazing. They also said they saw giant pandas on these uncharted lands, 3 to 5 times larger than our pandas. It's even said that they may have found more fossil remains of this new breed of human. To conclude, the Chinese may be going back, they may not. I'm not really sure. I thought it was wild and interesting that they told their public or put it on their news, but I could see it happening. End of the day, what it came down to was they have a concern as to how that dinosaur tracked and killed its prey. It was like nothing they had ever seen. Advanced evolution, something along those lines possibly. Their concern is that if we ever have to cross paths with said dinosaurs, or somehow they make it to our inlands and breed, I don't know. That's all I could really think of about it. I just know that it's said there's some really serious concern there. Obviously, I'm sure there's bits and parts missing, details, etc., but nevertheless, a crazy story after all. The big question is, where are these uncharted lands? It doesn't really make sense to me that there are any uncharted lands if the heliocentric model holds. But I'm not saying anything one way or the other. It's intriguing nonetheless. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about that. Where could these lands possibly be? I'm interested to see what y'all think. When I came across this video, I was super stoked, and I was glad I was going to be able to share it with you guys. Whether it's true or not, we don't really know. That's where your discernment comes in, as always. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Stay in the love, stay in the light, be kind to others, and look for a video coming up about Russian soldiers encountering an Anunnaki horde underground. That should be a good one. Be kind to others. I am out.